Okay, so here we go with another demonstration of the power of the solver. What we have here is a sheet metal fabrication company, and what they do is they take various sizes of sheets of steel, be it 100 square inches, 80 square inches, 55 square inches, and they can cut out of it various new sizes. All right, so for instance, on a 100 square inch sheet, we can do two 45-inch sheets. In other words, we can cut that out of it with about 10 inches of waste. And the other ones in there, we can take an 80-inch sheet and make 145 and 130 out of it with 5 inches of waste. And the same with the rest of them here. Now, we need to produce 800 45 inchers, 900 30 inchers, and 600 18 inchers. Okay? And we're going to get this from the various sheets here. The program is going to sit there and look at the different combinations that we have here and figure out what the best mix or best cutting would be from various sheets, whether it be a 100-inch or an 80-inch or a 55-inch, but figure out what the best ones are while keeping the total waste at a minimum. All right, so we're going to tell the solver to create for us a numbering system here of telling us how many of each of these it should do, these different combinations here, how many we should produce in order to get this many of the 45, the 30, and the 18 inchers while keeping the waste at a minimum. So we're not talking about profitability or anything like this. We're talking about waste of steel, from the original sheets. I would say this is probably one of the most powerful examples of using the solver, because you can imagine if you're sitting there trying to come up with these numbers of figuring out how many you should cut from, or how many of these you should have. In other words, how many of the 245-inch you should do versus how many of the 100 using the 30 inches and so forth. So just knowing, just to be able to come up with the idea of how many you should make out of each one of these is unbelievable. Or how many sheets we should use and do these cuttings to get what we have here while keeping this at a bare minimum. Unbelievable. I mean, that's crazy. Unbelievable. This would take you probably years to figure out. All right. Anyway, so how do we do this? Well, we're going to use the solver. So we'll go ahead and we'll click on to the Data tab. We'll go over to Solver. And the objective here is going to be taking, let me move this over here. We'll be taking this cell here, making this cell, which is H19, the smallest it can be, the minimum. We have no idea what that value would be. There's no reason for you to even come up with something like that. Let it do it for you. It'll figure out what the minimum is, all right? So that's the first one, all right, the first part of it. And where it's going to be plugging in the number that it needs of each of these, all right, is going to be this range right here. So we're going to be by changing variable cells, so the variable cells are going to be this area right here, all right? Not bad. All right, now we also need to set a major constraint, a major one, and that's going to be that we want to keep, I should go on the other side, keep all of these as integers as well, all right? So we're going to click on to add. We're going to select this range, right? And we're going to say that that range has to be all integers. We don't want 1.7 sheets of this, 3.7 sheets of that. We're not going to do that. So we do the integer, we hit OK. Can you think of what that next and only next constraint needs to be? Well, here's what it is. As we're plugging in the numbers here, it's going to be telling us how many, by having done a number of these, how many of it's produced of the 45 inch, the 30 inch, and the 18 inch. So what we want to make sure is that it doesn't produce any more than what is demanded. So what we really need to do is tell it that we want the totals here to equal the demand, right? Or vice versa, it doesn't matter. So we'll click on the add, right? We're going to select that range there, equals, right, this range here, right? So basically row 19 equaling row 20. And we'll hit OK on that one. That's it. Now think about this. If you had to do this by hand, on your own, this is going to take a long time to do, to get that exact combination here that gives you exactly what you need here, right? And keeping waste at the ultra minimum. In other words, it can't get any better, right? Whatever that number is, right? So you wouldn't even know what that number is. That's the thing. You might say, well, I guess this combination is good. Then you might try another combination. Oh, that's a little bit lower. Oh, that's another lower. That's a little bit lower. You keep on going with that, you'll drive yourself nuts. So we got this set up. We're going to click on the solve, and there we go. So there we have it. So what it's going to do is, this is the main column here, right? It's going to produce 400. It's going to take 400 of the 100-inch sheets and make two 30 inches and two 18-inch rectangular or whatever, objects out of it, right? And end up with 4 inches of waste. And it's also going to take the 80-inch and do and get like 145 and 130 with 5 of that, and it's going to do 200 of those cuttings, right? And this, and I think that's it. So it's those two. Oh, and then the last one here, the 55-inch is going to take that and create 3 18-inchers out of it, yielding like 1 inch of waste, which is pretty good. So when you add up all that waste, that's it there. There's no, and you'll notice how this is perfect here. There's no other combination, really, that you're going to be able to do here that's going to yield you exactly what you see here, and this to be any smaller. All right, so we're right there. So this is it. That's how you do it. So that is, I'll tell you, that is right there. Any machine shop or any fabrication shop that does this kind of thing, this is a great thing. I mean, I'm sure they've got their own people figuring that stuff out by hand, and they probably figure that out after a given time, but here you have a great tool that does it right off the bat. So hopefully you liked the video. Appreciate you watching. Take care.